absolutely smurfing right now with these hooks. He knows one right now, but they can arrest over the wall.
The counter engage for the Chiefs is way too good. There is nothing to be done for Gravitas here.
They're even aware of it. Curcio here, and that is the ultimate connected themselves into a false hold. 5 to 3 minutes off these goals.
Only player to lock in this lane. There is just no damage for the Chiefs. Braden gets the first pentakill of the LCO.
Oh, buzz, bitch. Welcome back to the DoorDash LCO for yet another super week. Thank God it's Friday because I'm damn excited to get just a taste of what's going on here for the start of the round 3 matches, and I'm damn excited for them. But before we jump into what's coming up into that third round, let's look back at what happened on Wednesday, all the crazy action, and here's the honey.
Arrives in the mid lane. There is the Sejuani ult down on top of Cupcake, who is being given the opportunity to use his own ultimate, keeps himself alive for now, tries to E out, does manage to get out. And in fact, it's actually Kisei that surely goes down here, not just him, Swayth as well. Rotation through from the Direwolves and a clean house. Look at that. The Chiefs decimated. Well, Pettinetto more than happy to just play the dance for now. In fact, Gravitas pushes the issue. They force the fight. The bombs go through, but they're really not doing enough damage, are they? Pentanet have gotten on top of Gravitas, and that's always going to be a bad time. If you are a Gravitas fan, Peace could well look for the turn. Oh, Halo! Where did he go? He's done a magic trick, I think, there, Kevin. He's just said, see you later, Halo. And I think see you later game for Peace right now. All of the Order fans in the chat will rejoice.
Game could end if this fails. Joy, this is going to be a very big Baron play from Mammoth. It's do or die right now.
Teleport's actually coming through from Incursio. He wants to fight it. Shinky's down low. Death sentence onto ML. And is it going to be the Baron? Well, it doesn't really matter which way the Baron went, did it? Because Mammoth have been utterly routed.
Don't worry, be happy, as BMO says. Now, that is, of course, who I am. And we do have some other characters, some other golden content creators and casters and everything that's going on the desk today. Skimmy, who do you think you are?
What do you mean I'm hard stuck in silver, mate? I'm telling you that ARAM is a real game mode. Get off out of here, Mac. What are you on about, mate?
Who are you? Who are you? I have no idea.
Well, you know, business is good so far. You know, living in lockdown, right? Got the cryptocurrency on schedule, making some stonks, and getting it done, Mac.
Okay, all right. And Jubes, you're looking happy. Are you a mime?
No, I'm not Mr. Mime. I'm Shaco.
Oh,
March.
Okay, that was intense. And I'm glad that was just one of many voice lines that we get to play with this afternoon or this evening. We have a fourth person that we usually do some sick content. What the? You're up the shit, Nat. What's going on?
I can't even reply to that.
Who are you?
No, I'm not.
I'm a Mumu. I just really wanted to make sure that I triggered PGG before their game today, so I picked a Mumu.
Ah, beautiful. Well, I think we're looking stunning. What do you guys think? I think this glow-up's worked out nicely. What about, What, actually,
I think we should do it more often.
Oh, Corporate Mundo. Oh, no idea. I had absolutely no idea. That's where the ego came from, Skimmy.
You've missed out, mate, and that's why you're the host.
Oh, okay. Well, sorry, sir. Now, let's have a quick look back at the standings, where all the teams are currently sitting after last day of games before we jump into this fantastic bloody Friday. So, Pentanet, of course, at the top of the ladder now, 10 and 4. Order and Chiefs tied at second, 9 and 5. Direwolves, 8 and 6, really climbing up the rankings on their little rampage that they've been going on. Peace down at 5th at 7 and 7, so completely even right now. Let's see if they can change that up. But Gravitas, Legacy, and Mammoth comprising just the bottom 3. Not able to be in the playoffs just yet, but they got 1 round left of games to make that happen. And neither of you two, or 3, well, Nat was here the other day, but neither of you two were here the other day to have your 2 cents. So, Jubes, tell me, what do you think of the ladder at the moment?
Looking particularly familiar, but then I just dive a little bit deeper and I see Peace in 5th position. Then I start to get trembles because this isn't what we're used to seeing. And I think like Order's almost just traded bodies with them, right? Like last split, it was Order probably around that 5th place mark, and they've really just overtaken Peace.
Doing such a good job. And Skimmy, any surprises here for you, or do you think the table's starting to look more like we expected?
Yeah, it's starting to look pretty good, isn't it? I think for me, Auto is the biggest one to keep your eyes on so far because they started the week tied in third. They beat the Direwolves and Peace. They've now found themselves tied in second, and they've already beaten Chiefs as well. So they look like the team that's saying, it's time to get some dubs, mate. We need to get some victories. I think Peace in fifth, they'll be shaking in their boots because you're looking at Gravitas and Legacy. You can get a win, mate, and they can get it bloody done.
How do I take him seriously? How do I take him seriously with his sunglasses on,
Yes,
dude?
mate.
At least one of us have like fully committed to the character, so I hope we get this skimmy all damn night. But let's have a look at the schedule and what games we have coming up for this evening. There's 4 bangers on the table. We've got Gravitas and Legacy to kick things off here to try and tie themselves up with Peace, who are going to be playing at 8 p.m. against the Chiefs there, but we've skipped a bloody game, jumped back up at 7 p.m. You've got Order and Mammoth going head-to-head. Let's see if Mammoth is able to cause a bit of an upset and find themselves that second dub. And then at 9 p.m. to round off the night, Direwolves and Pentanet, which can be the potential game of the day. Skimmy, I'm just loving your ego right now. Can you tell me which is the best game of the day and which is the worst as well, because you're such an arsehole?
Yeah, well, look, mate, the best game of the day is game number 1. These two teams absolutely getting it done. Gravitas beaten them twice already, and look, mate, when Gravitas can't win as a 5-man roster, they can actually employ some minions to get the core destructed instead, right? Second game, Legacy have got this game under wraps. They're claiming every turret, every structure. It all belongs to them, right? But then somehow, somewhere, they realize that Baroness is too much of a mind control tactic that they lose. The game that sucks the most has to be the second game because, you know, Order, I think they're going to take it all, mate. I think they're just going to go to Worlds, and Mammoth, yep, they'll need a team name change. It's not enough of a Mammoth task for them.
Oh, okay. Well, there you have it. So that's what's going on today. That's what's going on today. I just cannot keep a straight face with Skimmy right now, but he's doing such a good job. Now, we do have the key picks to quickly chat about as well. Juves, you've brought these ones up, and it's the pop-off potential, because we've seen these go well, and then some of them maybe not so well, but these are your picks. Tell us why.
Yeah, I think it's going to be hard to be serious for a moment, but we're going to give it a crack. So we got the pop-off potential. I think earlier as a no-brainer. We saw it once in the LCO, and it did actually lose. So I definitely want to see either, if this champ's been left open, I want to see it snap locked, insta-locked, flexed, played top or mid. It just has so much potential to win the 1v1, win the 2v2, and can team fight, can sit in a side lane. Itemization for Aurelia at the moment is just in a really good spot. There's so many build paths and routes you can go. Graves is another one I wanted to talk about, probably popularized by Kevy, to be honest, with the Dark Harvest and the first item, the first authority item. And Graves, he got like a small AD buff. However, it shaved like 10 seconds off his clear if you do it efficiently, which is actually a significant buff. Graves fell out of meta because his clear time really just kind of wasn't as good as the meta junglers such as the Diana, Rumble, and things of that nature. So Graves getting that small quality of life AD buff, I think is going to really do wonders for him in the jungle, especially in the LCO, in a region where junglers actually get a lot of gold. Ryze is another one that I think Shock's really been the only player to play this one consistently in the mid lane. And what Ryze does is it allows you to play 4-1, but it can also group to objectives, play team fights, play front to back, kite back type team fights if you can get the bounce damage off. Now, Ryze for me, 4-1 is probably the easiest thing to execute to as a team if you're new and you're learning. You play Seesaw, you play the split. So again, I want to see these mid laners like putting a bit of priority on Ryze. And then Jace, this is probably the hardest one to execute with the highest skill variance, because if you fall behind, you're rendered useless on the Jace. However, Jace has a good lane into most matchups, and then on around that 1 to 2 item power spike, especially with the Muramana evolved, can really do so much damage when you're grouped for objectives. Jace, can sit in a side lane and win a lot of the matchups that he has, top side. However, where you see the most bang for buck is grouping around those neutral objectives, landing those accelerated shock blasts, and poking people out so you can secure neutral objectives. So again, excited to see some of these champions picked up this week, or rather today. Yeah, and just through the rest of the patch as well. Hopefully we do get to see a bit more Graves. I've really enjoyed how action-packed those games have been so far. Nat, any little takes there from you on the key picks?
Not overly. I mean, Tubes knows what he's talking about, so everyone should listen to him and snap lock that Aurelia.
Beautiful. Well, hopefully we do get to see some Aurelia. Now, quick question for you guys here on the desk. What is your worst champion when you play this game? Skimmy, I'm going to ask you because obviously you're probably the best and you don't have a worst champion.
Dumb answer, mate. Dumb question, actually, because sometimes I don't even know what I'm talking about, but that is what happens when you talk to Mundo. Sometimes he gets himself mixed up, and yeah, maybe a little bit too much of this and not enough of that, mate.
True. What about you, Juice?
My worst champion at the moment, probably everything hard stuck. So, don't know. Probably man, Shaco. To be honest, I don't know what to do. How do you start with the boxes? Where do you put them and whatnot?
Yeah, well, true. Well, at
Serious
least you get to, get in the mind of Shaco today. Now, let's hear from the players what their worst champions are.
Champ I'm worst at playing, it's probably Zyra. Just because I think I've only played one game of Zyra and I got absolutely no dopamine from her. So then I'm just like, I'm never playing this character ever again.
Probably Aurelion Sol. I've only played him like 3 times, but my Aurelion Sol doesn't really do anything, so I just suck at that champ.
It's probably Pike. I don't know what it is about him. I just can't hit any hooks, and I just always end up missing my ult every time.
The champ that I have in my pool that I'm bad at is probably like Yasuo. So like right now, if I picked Yasuo, I'd just go 0-10 for sure.
Something like Varus, because the champ like never clicked with me, even though it became meta.
Kali, I guess. I tried to play a Kali. It didn't go well.
I think Riven. I've never really played Riven, but the few times I have, I've just butchered every single combo imaginable. Like, I'm just very bad at Riven, and I don't ever want to touch that champion again.
This is some support champ with Janna. This is the worst at Janna, because my brain explodes how boring it is.
Can't play Riven. I used to be able to play Riven, but now I just can't play it anymore.
Anivia.
I've never pretended to be an Italy player. I'm not going to start now.
I think it's Callista. The whole interaction with like bouncing every time you auto attack, and like I haven't played it much, but when I did play it, it just felt horrendous. And I remember getting flamed really hard for playing this champ.
Tarek.
I think Zed. I think every time I attempt to poke them in lane, I'll just miss all my Qs on my Shadow and myself.
I can play him, but I don't feel comfortable playing him. It's Vlad, like Vladimir.
Yumi. It's not because I don't think I can pilot it. I would just want to leave. I think for me, I have to actually be doing something, and playing Yumi would be too difficult for me.
Out of all the champs that I'm playing currently, I'd probably say Sylas. Like I really enjoy playing like Sylas mid lane, like when I'm not playing bot lane, that is. But my Sylas is probably like one of my worst champions.
I think I'm pretty bad at Azir. I never really liked using his soldiers mechanic.
Akali. Really bad at Akali.
I think I'm really bad at playing Blitzcrank because I never really play supports.
I try to play Jace, it's just too hard. I can't play Jace.
I think champion I'd be worst at is probably Kane. I played, my teammates kind of goddamn flamed me on this one. I had a Kane game in solo queue, kind of went 0-7, 0-11, but I ended up winning, so jungle diff.
Well, that is very true. Now, I tried to start playing Nidalee the other day, and I can definitely say it's one of my worst champs. I've got the clear down, but I focus so much on the clear that the rest of the whole jungle business just sort of goes out the window. So it's not in my criteria just yet. I think I need to be a little bit better at the game to fluently play that champ. What about you, Nat? You didn't say one before.
Lux, yeah.
Okay.
So I compare Lux and Morgana because they have similar Qs. Morgana can definitely always land my Q pretty much. Lux though, man, I cannot hit a single one.
Well, hopefully you can hit some impressions on social media, which is what we want this week. Everyone, if you haven't already done it, go and follow at LCO on Twitter, on YouTube, on Twitch, on bloody Instagram, on Facebook as well. Make sure you just go over everywhere. Not even us, all the players. The players' hashtags and hashtags, ats will be up at some point during the night, so you'll be able to see them. Go and watch their content, go and see what they're about. As well as all the organizations, and then us too, because we post solid content. So, go follow all the wonderful talent here on the desk. But look, we've already got some content from the fans for today. So let's go and bring those up. Let's have a quick look. It is Raph. So, thanks LCO for the 8 a.m. Pantanet game tomorrow. 8 Horace do Brazil.
I think that means 8 hours or 8 a.m.
8 a.m. probably. Joganda, I don't know what those words say, so I'm not going to say them just in case, but they are already on the broadcast. So let's jump on over to the next one. But it looks like he's trying to say it's interclock.
He's got a koala in his photo. He's got to be a good guy.
It says Osh, Raf. Maybe he's from Osh, but he's just Brazilian. Anyway, let's not go too far down that road. Let's jump onto meme number 2. Let's see what it is. It is Lorenzo. Again, 4 hours sleep. Got that Friday feeling. Hot beverage ready for another banger day of at LCO. Let's go. Hashtag send it. Hashtag
That's my Excel
LCO.
spreadsheet, guy.
It is.
It is.
Yeah, he's my spreadsheet, man.
Content king, getting up here again, so doing a very damn good job. But look, try to get more than those 4 hours sleep, mate. You'll feel so much better. I tells you from experience, all right? I've gone many a night of just 4 hours sleep, and you just feel so atrocious at the end of the day. Now, let's get into the business. No, actually, let's not get into the business. Before we get into the business, ladies and gents at home, if you have solid content, you take screenshots of us. You know, we already look like idiots as it is, so why don't you idiofy us?
I don't know about that.
Well, it's technically, so if you haven't picked up on it, it is Scuffed Cosplay Day. So, of course, I'm wearing my best BMO outfit that I grabbed together within 5 minutes. I have my dog's bee costume on my head, which somehow fits, and my girlfriend's shirt on, which may be a crop top. I can try to, let's just see how far I can go. If I just get up to like a little bit here. Oh, it's creeping. Oh, too much skin. Whoa.
Too much back. Come on, mate.
TOS, we're going to get banned. I'm very sorry. I apologize. Production, please keep me in the shot. Now, let's talk the game, all right? Let's talk first game of the night. It's Gravitas and Legacy, but let's talk Gravitas first. So, they've been doing a pretty damn good job. Now, Jubes, do you think they have what it takes to take out Legacy here?
Well, they've actually, one thing to notice straight away, they've put Thomas, Shen and Floppy back in. So yesterday's game, they did go with the Azus support and Piglet in the marksman position. So they've gone back to their roots of what's, I believe, gotten them the most wins this split, right? This bot lane of Floppy and Thomas Shen. So I'm hoping that we see the same aggressive, you know, Akano on those early gank junglers, Safa on those carries. Kiese, you know, he's been on those enchanters for quite some weeks now. And it's been working for them. So again, seems like Gravitas just need to run with their niche and really just put their foot to the floor and show Legacy what it's all about, because both teams are vying off for a late surge in that, you know, that playoff 5th position.
Yeah, 100%. Now, two of the beautiful individuals there, you get to see them again. Why? Because they get to interview one another like they're a married couple. It's going to be solid content. Have a look at it.
If you'd remove one champion from the game, who is it and why?
Shaco, because he's like the most broken champ in the game.
Right, who you can add? Who specifically is Shaco that annoys you?
Gooby and...
Yeah, just say Gooby and move on.
If you could make a hybrid champion with any mix of existing champion abilities, what 4 skills would you pick?
What 4 skills should I pick?
Yeah, for a hybrid champion.
Aurelia, Q, E, W, and ult. Do not change that champion. It's too good. Who's someone in the league that you genuinely disliked at first, but now like?
There's no one I really dislike. Like,
no.
Just someone like I wasn't maybe comfortable talking to because I initially joined in. Probably Pabu or Chaz, one of them.
I used to dislike Incursio a lot because he would just play and just throw every single game, but now I just like his personality a lot more, and I don't really care about how he plays and stuff, just more, you know, how cool he is as a person. So.
If you had to role change, where would you go?
ADC. That's so easy. You know, we've talked about this so much. ADC has to be the easiest role in the game. Like, unironically, it's just hands, and everyone else does the thinking for you. You group with your team. You never have to worry about side lanes. It's just about auto spacing and wave management and everything. I mean, honestly, if I could go back in time, I probably would have ended up an ADC player.
Do you have any game day superstitions?
Don't open Twitch chat. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. Just don't do it. Just wait till you get in game. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. It throws you off. I mean, it throws me off. So yeah, better not to. Who would you consider your biggest rival?
Looking at age, probably Kise, because of the same age, we play the same role, and yeah, probably that. We've just won a match, and your camera is being shown. How are you reacting?
Like it's just business.
Pretend
Nothing special.
we just won against like the top team or something.
Nothing special, just business.
What if you won the split?
Just business,
Okay.
as expected. Would you still play League of Legends if Ari was removed from the game? And if so, which champion would you sim for instead?
First of all, I don't sim for Ari. Second, I actually don't play her anymore, and because everyone keeps banning her out in solo queue. Third, if I couldn't stop playing her, who would I sim for? Probably Syndra. What was your first impression of me?
I mean, I always liked you, to be honest. I actually always liked you since, like, way back. Do you know when I met you?
Yeah, 2016.
it was ages ago,
2017,
and he'd messaged me in Arabic as well because like we both speak Arabic, and he'd messaged me just non-stop in Arabic. It was really funny.
I was in like year 9 or 10, so.
But yeah, it was alright. I mean, we've been mates for ages.
Those times.
So yeah, and that is our interview.
And that's a wrap.
Okay, yep, and that's a wrap.
That was so cute. They both speak Arabic, or that they used to speak Arabic to one another, and that's how they met. So that's really cute. Now, that was a nice little bit of content, but we have to talk about the other team in the picture, of course, that is Legacy, Tree Gang. Hashtag Tree Gang if you are a hashtag Tree fan. Legacy fan? I don't know. What's their hashtag? Skimmy, tell me, because I don't know.
Flyers 1, off to the moon, Carbon when is pretty much really the hashtags for this team. Look, I've got a bone to pick with Legacy because this team's pissing me off. They've lost twice to Gravitas. The first time, 47-minute banger, minions into the game, the most kills in an LCO game this split. The second game, let's just run through some of the stats. The second game, I tell you what, 20 minutes in, they had 7 turrets and inhib versus a single turret that Gravitas had picked up. Then they just somehow, some way lose the next team fights. They just lose the game. How do you lose the game? Is this CLG? What's going on? I've had enough, Mac. I need to see a dub from these boys today because they're handsome individuals. They've got celebrations far greater than the makeup I put on here today. And look, they want to keep that playoff streams alive.
I'm sure that they will. Now, do you think that Gravitas can win with Winions again? And what is the likelihood in a percentage-based answer, please, Jubes?
3%.
Ah, okay. So not likely.
No, I don't think winning by Winions is ever a sustainable strategy, and one that, you know, what's the saying? Lightning doesn't strike twice. And it did strike twice, actually, with Gravitas, because I think they won by Winions 2 times, or
in the same
backdoors
place.
at least. But yeah, in the same place. So Gravitas going to have to come up with a new tech to start winning, I think. Because, you know, but to be honest, the most legacy way to lose against Gravitas would be to minions.
Yeah, very true, very true. Now, something that we need to speak about is you could actually be played today. We did see Gravitas last split pick Shaco. What?
Oh, they did.
They did, remember, when they
it was the
beat
coach
Petsonet. So, oh, was it the coach?
Yeah, the coach played.
Yeah, Coach Poltron said, I've had enough, you know, we're going to cause an upset. We're not going to allow them to have the perfect split. So they made both yourself and Nat cosplay.
Ah, well, there you have it. So they certainly showed up last split. Now, Nat, I heard that you have some friends down on the sidelines there.
I do. I no longer have to be the sad mummy, as I am going to be joined by 2 very special people, Civil and Safa. Thank you both so much for joining me. I don't know if you've tuned into the broadcast yet, but I do want to ask, do you like our outfits? Do you like our cosplays today?
Impressive stuff.
I think they could use some work.
Okay, you know what? I'll take note. We'll maybe work on it. We'll see. But look, Safa, I do want to ask, you know, you've beat Legacy twice now. How confident are you guys that you're going to be doing it again tonight?
I'll be honest, we kind of dropped the ball recently, but I think recently we kind of came to a realization of where we were at and like the trajectory we were going, and then what recently stopped and how we really needed to kind of get back on the bike and just like keep going and try and do our best. Because I think we realized is like when Mammoth beat us, like they've been grinding the whole time, and like with the position they're in, they're probably not going to end up in playoffs. But despite that, they're still working really hard. They're still trying to do well. Like they're all trying to prove themselves. So I think we realized that it's about how we play and not, you know, what the standings are.
Do you think you guys then sort of like plateaued, like as in you're saying you weren't really putting in that effort, and so now you've put in a lot of changes and perhaps maybe new champs or strategies that'll come out tonight?
I think as a whole, we will focus too much on the standings. You know, everyone's trying to do the math, you know, okay, if they win and they lose and blah, 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 this is how we can end up in playoffs. But like Mammoth, despite pretty much being locked out of playoffs, they are still trying, they are still grinding, they're still scrimming, they're still practicing. And I think it just put things into perspective that for us, we just need to be focusing on ourselves and not, you know, stressing too much about where we're at and just try and be better players.
Love to hear it. Sybil, you guys haven't won it yet against Gravitas, and hearing that coming out of Safa, do you guys think you have an advantage and potentially get your first win against them tonight?
I think so. I mean, I hope so. I don't know. I really don't think we should have lost the last game versus them. So yeah, we just need to not throw this time.
What other changes or things that you have taken away from the last time you faced that you're going to be implementing tonight?
Well, we've just been improving like week by week. But to be honest, seeing the recap like a minute ago, watching us like throw the game and lose to Gravitas, like I didn't want to be reminded of that. So yeah, like
that's
I don't know, like we're just playing better these days than we were back then. I think we took down. I think Chiefs are a pretty big struggle for us, and so what's the other team? The other top team, Pensinet. Chiefs and Pensinet are like pretty hard to beat. But every other team, it's like on the day, it kind of just depends. So I think, and Gravitas should be one of those teams. It's just we've been unlucky these two past times. So I think now it's the one we do win.
Yeah, well, this is actually going to be the last time you're facing, like, this is our last round, right? Last time you're going to be facing up against these teams. So what is going to be your goal for round 3 in this round robin? What are you hoping? How many wins to get?
Well, we need to basically win versus any of the teams that are near us, above us. So Gravitas, Order, teams like that. We really need those wins. And then hopefully they lose to Mammoth and stuff, or like to Chiefs and Pensinet. So then it knocks us up. I mean, we just have to like win every game pretty much. Like that's the goal.
I love to hear it. And Safa, for you guys as well over Gravitas, goals and aims for this last round?
I mean, definitely to win, obviously. But I think the biggest thing is we kind of just all got inspired by Mammoth, so we just all want to be better players.
Okay, getting inspired by the bottom team, that's cool.
Hey, I mean, look, if you can be bottom place or last place and still, grind and get a win, I think there's something admirable about it. But I'm looking forward to seeing what you both are bringing to the table tonight. Thank you both for joining me, and good luck tonight.
Thanks.
Good to hear from the boys, as always. So, look, they were laughing. They're having a good time. Sybil obviously reminded about something he didn't want to be reminded about. So maybe that is the edge that Gravitas need to make this game look bloody easy. What are your thoughts on that, Skimmy?
I'll speak for him. Skimmy, you just move your mouth and I'll talk some thoughts for you. I actually reckon that Sybil's now more hungry for the win, and so because of that, Legacy aren't going to throw the win. Sybil's going to play more cleanly, he's going to play level-headed, and he's just not going to throw it away and not going to limit test.
Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Absolutely smurfing there with your puppet. Do you have your hand out? Are you actually controlling Skimmy right now? Are you a ventriloquist?
When you're corporate mundo and you got that amount of cash behind you, you just pay people
you pay
to do
someone
your
to
work.
speak for you. Yeah,
exactly. Oh, he's at that level now. So, Jubes, you got a lot going on for you in the game today because he's not going to be talking at all. Now, let's look at the predictions and see which way you have all decided to go with this match. Okay, 2 legacies already. Of course, BMO has gone with Twitch chat. So let's have a look at how that's gone. We jump over to page number 2. Now, are you on the Legacy hype train as well? Everyone's on Legacy today, so no one believing in Gravitas.
I think what Safa said is kind of what maybe we're all thinking, is that, they were really great at the start of the split because they were bringing in a whole bunch of new things. Teams have kind of worked that out, and while teams were working that out, they weren't coming up with new things to implement. They weren't grinding to get better, and now they're just kind of skating by a little bit, so it's rough.
A little bit rough. What about the boys? Any thoughts there, Jubes, on why you've gone Legacy instead of Gravitas?
Oh, again, to be honest with you, I just made a promise to the Gravitas ownership that I wouldn't tip them ever again.
I do remember that.
I'm just following through. I'm a man of my word, so when I say I'm going to do something, I'll do it.
Very true, very true. Now, not only can you exclamation DoorDash in Twitter, in Twitch chat, in any chat, you'll get the notification and you'll be able to be forwarded to where you can get your dinner on a Friday, because no one wants to cook on a Friday night. You've just worked all day. You've just spent a lot of energy, and it's the perfect time to get yourself some DoorDash, kick your feet up, watch some DoorDash LCO, and enjoy yourself. But also, jump on the Twitter sphere, jump on all the socials, go follow them as well as Gravitas and Legacy, which is the game coming up very shortly. Champ Select not quite ready, though. But are we going to see any pocket picks coming into this one, Mr. Mundo?
Yeah, I'm expecting Irelia once again. Look, mate, Safa is that good. It gets banned even before it's reworked. So we know how strong it is. It got played once by Halo in mid lane, wasn't able to find success, got camped, got taken out of the game very early on, and then it was just perma-banned away. I'm expecting to see it here today, and if I don't, then I'm going to be very disappointed.
Are you expecting to see any of us in the Rift? You know, are you expecting some Mundo?
Yeah, I expect to see myself, and if I do see myself in there, better be my skin, or once again, I will be very disappointed, Mac.
Okay, well, let's have a look at the top laners, some of the players that could be playing you. Up here in the top lane, you've got Safa against Winterer, so it is going to be a battle of what could be argued as some of the best players on their respective teams, some of the win conditions. So top lane will be a matchup we have to look at, Juice.
Yeah, definitely, and it's funny enough, when you look at the most picked champions, you see the two different roles that they actually play on each other's teams, right? Like, Safa's just always on these bruisers that have really good gank setup, well, Camille and Aatrox have some decent gank setup, Camille having the better of the two, and Gwen just being like that thing that just farms and just, before you know it, snips you off in a team fight. Whereas Winterer, he's played the Enchanters, he's played a supportive role in his team, he plays kind of the big, beefy front line, that's the set, but he can also play the marksman, so again, yeah, it's not what we've seen Safa used to playing, and I think they play a similar role on their team though, right? In the sense that they both need to be ahead, otherwise their teams really suffer.
Yeah, well, let's see if that is going to be the case, because game number 1 of the Super Friday is ready. It's Gravitas and Legacy going head-to-head. Buzz, buzz, bitch.
Beautiful, Mac. Yes. Let's lock in here, Jubes. It's going to be, well, it's going to be the third time that these teams have met. They are locked in 6th place, dead even, very close to that elusive 5th and final spot for playoffs. And let's see if anything is weird, wild, and wacky here in the banning phase, because Tom Kench seemed to be the biggest one that really got talked about as 11-14 pocket pick, and no surprises, it's banned away.
If we see a Tom Kench today, I'll be very surprised. I gave that one a little bit of a speed run in solo queue just to give it a crack, and let me tell you something. That's what I'm going to be picking all day, every day to get some inflated LP gains. But the Gwen picked up here from Legacy. I wonder if Sybil can play the Gwen now. It's been out long enough that I think it's unacceptable to not have it as a flex pick, right? Whether that's mid lane, jungle, or top. So we'll have to see where this one goes. Obviously, you know, your first bet would be on Winterer. But the Viego being picked up on 11-14, that's another one that, I mean, we haven't really put a big focus or priority on. It can go both ways as well. Can go jungle, can go top lane. So starting the draft off with flex picks.
Yeah, and it kind of springs to mind that if it's not banned away, it's going to be guaranteed locked in the first 3 picks, regardless of the changes. The kit itself just offers far too much, right? Interesting quick stats to bring to you. The last 2 times that these teams met, Incursor played Viego in both of those games, whereas Kiyose actually played the LeBlanc in one game and the Lulu in the other. So big focus on him. You could argue that all 3 bans have been towards Gravitas' mid laner.
Yeah, and I mean, they've also banned away both his enchanters. Traditionally, you know, the Karma, the Lulu's banned, or it's either taken or given as a trade. But they've just said, nah, you know, we have no business or interest in first picking the Lulu, in first picking the Karma. We'll just take those away from Kiyose because he picks up solo kills with it. And this is what I'm surprised to see. But I think but I think Gravitas knew this would be the case. Because if I'm being brutally honest, whilst Incursio's diversified his champion pool, he still has not champion pool problems, but you know he's not going to play the Aurelia, right? That's not something that's really up his alley. So you can afford, once Gwen's picked, to let the Aurelia go to 3rd pick, right? And, you know, I mean, again, where do you think that Aurelia is going? Whose hands is that Aurelia going in?
Yeah, that man on the screen right there, Big Safa, Big Dog himself, no doubt looking to try and put in a bit of a clinic here and out jungle, out play, and out 2v1. He's done it a fair few times this split and been the big clutch factor for Gravitas to get them across the finishing line. So we get to see if they can find that success here today, because Xin Zhao's been denied. A huge pick here for Sybil. Same with the Elise as well. So forcing him to then dive deep into his own champion pool and say, all right, what is your early game power?
You know, the question I have here, Skimmy, with this draft in the first 3 is that we've only probably ever seen Akano play, what, Volibear, Lee Sin, maybe not even Lee Sin, but Volibear, Xin Zhao, correct me if I'm wrong, maybe Lee Sin. And we haven't traditionally seen him play, the Rumble, the Diana. They haven't been his go-tos. Now, if Viego is going to be mid lane or locked in or in the jungle, where's the AP source coming from for Gravitas? So they maybe have pinched themselves into an all AD composition. Yes, Varus does have some AP ratios, However, we'll need to keep our eyes on which player is going to draft that AP threat.
Yeah, it's a good question, right? Wondering where we will go with that one. If you're looking down the wheelhouse, you say, well, Rek'Sai's been a pocket pick for Akano. That's not your guaranteed AP source of damage either, so I'm going to have to see what Akano can bring out. Hence why the Volibear has been banned away as well, because that's been a major tank engage AP threat for them in the past. So, interesting discussion point now to see what they'll go for.
The Braum picked up here is, you pick Braum for comp because you've got the two, melee range carries, which being Aurelia and Viego, and it's going to have a fun time proccing it onto the Thresh, onto the Gwen. And you can say Aphelios, but I mean, if you're proccing stuns on the Aphelios, the team fight's probably lost anyway. But this means that you have a very good bot lane, right? Now the Aphelios and the Thresh are going to have a pretty decent time into the Braum, into the Varus. So, Braum pick, while it's drafted for comp, it's not necessarily, the best for lane.
Yeah, not the strongest in lane, not something that you'd think is going to give you that game-winning edge, but certainly when it comes to the skirmishes where Gravitas have been so strong at, we know that they are going to commit, that they're not going to back away from team fights, not shy on that front. They can definitely find a lot of value with that passive and look to lock down Legacy, who have a composition also wanting to come at you. There's the AP threat. You said that Sybil doesn't really like to stick to the meta champions as such. This is another champion tucked away in his wheelhouse.
I would say Zach's like verging on meta now. It's been picked a couple times overseas. Traditionally most junglers end up getting banned, like the Volibear, the Xin Zhao, the early game junglers. So then, if you're up against something that scales, like you're happy as the Zach because you scale, you need levels in your slingshot, you need items as well. And in terms of being, I guess, the best tank in the meta right now, I would say Zach's up there. I don't think there's traditionally anything else you can really pick. Kyose's gone for the Zoe, so Viego jungle. So they do have that AP threat, and now it's that sole AP threat.
Certainly is. Big pressure now on Kyosa to perform, but that's definitely possible. We've seen him do it before, right? He's definitely bailed his team out of tight situations where the lanes are losing, bot lane's not looking too shot. Sapphire's being camped and looked to be put on a bit of an island, and he's just run up top side, picked up double kills, rotated, and just crushed the game as a whole. So, it's not LeBlanc, but it's certainly a champion that can sort of fill the same role of CC, poke, and just one-shot potential.
But I mean, you look at the composition of Legacy, and like, that's a beefy composition. I mean, their squishiest member is obviously the Aphelios, but then other than that, it's Incursio, and he's playing Immune Gwen.
Yeah.
I mean, and then Immune Gwen, Zoe can't really, fling skill shots in range to do any damage, and all the meanwhile, it's the two brothers topside, Sybil, Winterer, who are just going to be diving backline and making the game very hard for Kyose to play. So obviously, Legacy's composition want to play, disruption, right? They don't ever want to give Sapphire the time to flank and find access to the back line, but more importantly, any vision control. Because if Gravitas can set up with the Zoe, and Zoe can just fling skill shots all day, your tanks are still going to get chunked out. They're going to start team fights on half HP, and you're probably not going to win. However, if the composition, which we're going to see here from Legacy, just find half an inch, and you best believe Sybil is going to take the inch, then it's going to be nearly impossible for Kyose to play the game, for Thomas Shen to play the game, because Braum, whilst, it does a decent job in peeling, I mean, you can only stop, 1, 2 max, then there's a third one.
Yeah, and you can understand what the idea is from Gravitas, right? Hit the Sleepy Trouble Bubble, hit the hit the Varus ultimate, the Chain of Corruptions, and start the fight from there, all in, layer the passive from Braum and go from there. But you hit the key word for me for Legacy, disruption, right? Cyclone, the fact that Sybil can jump in there and look to knock everybody up and cause panic, and in the mist from Gwen. It's going to be a bit of a headache, and we're going to find out what happens as we go into our third game between these two teams. We're going to jump into a coach interview as we lock in this one, and it is Valexis once again joining us. And I'll start by asking, mate, welcome back to the stream. It's been a hot minute since we last spoke, but, talk to me about the boys and their recent run of schedule. A game away, a victory away, really, from top 5. Do you think the team has plateaued in recent weeks, or are there any other factors holding you guys back?
Yeah, I would say we have kind of plateaued. It's been really hard with Super Weeks to actually get in the necessary practice required to constantly that we were improving at. So I think that since this is our last Super Week, it's actually going to be a massive benefit for us to be able to have more time to prepare and more time to practice in general.
Yeah, because I mean, it's a big game today, right? After a string of defeats, you know, you've beaten Legacy twice. They've always been bangers, very explosive and very down to the wire. So is there, I mean, obviously every game is important, but is there a little bit of extra emphasis saying this is a team that we've beaten stylistically in the past? Let's go back to winning ways here.
Oh, 100%. And like, I'd be a liar if I was to say that our wins over Legacy have been clean at all. I think that we should have lost the last game we versed against them, but we were able to clutch it out thanks to Safa on Gwen, and now they got the Gwen. So it'll be interesting to see how well they can pilot it, as well as if we can use our composition to its full degree.
Yeah, and composition exactly where I want to finish things off here, right? Because we can clearly tell that your comp wants to go forward, wants to skill check them, wants to lay a CC and, you know, catch out members either on the rotate or just in a big team fight. But are you concerned with what Legacy have locked in to respond with?
Yeah, in a sense. I feel like we obviously just want to poke them with our Varus and Zoe, and if we can get them low enough and then potentially get like a Varus ult into Viego reset, we can definitely be winning the fights. But if they get the first catch on us and disrupt what we want to do, that is going to be a bit of a yikes, but time will tell.
Time will tell indeed. All right, mate. Well, best of luck. Pleasure as always, and we'll catch up soon.
Thank you. Cheers.
Always a bit of a headache there, Juice.
Yeah,
Look, I saw the first blood coming, but we had to do it.
I know. I wasn't going to cut you off. I mean, there's not much to break down from that level 1, except both teams probably did a little bit of investigating prior to this game to see level 1 habits, and they come to the conclusion that they'll meet top side of the brush. Now, obviously, if you're face checking a Braum, that's kind of like one of the no-nos in League of Legends, because you actually don't beat Braum level 1. The moment I saw Winter at Dashron in there, I thought, okay, he's cosplaying the monkey champ and doing monkey things there. So, you know, he goes down for first blood, burns the flash as well. But again, nothing too crazy, nothing too major. But the one thing to keep your eye on is that it was Safa that did get the first blood. So, you know, if he wasn't already feeling confident on this earlier, he's definitely feeling confident now.
And it's huge for the narrative of this game, because as we've said and seen before, you know, when Safa is ahead, he can literally 1v9 games. Pretty much on his own, he can do it all. But in the same vein, if teams have responded to that, they have been able to look to, you know, bring things back. There have been various strategies, whether or not that be find strength elsewhere in the map.
Oh, the roam.
And this could be that strength as they now look to go for Akano. Nice little flash there, juking into the brush, and guaranteeing that they do get the scuttle.
His top laner just said, you know what, I'm having none of this. Safa just hit the base key, so they couldn't fight that. But, you know, something that we didn't see bot side of the map was a nice trade coming out of Styled and ML. They didn't, you know, force any summoner spells, but they made a floppy base, and ML got to cheat tempo and walk topside. But double crab going the side of Gravitas, and they might be in trouble here.
Yeah. Haven't completed it, but they've now forced out another flash in as many minutes. So, scuttle, double for Gravitas here. All the control, all the vision, and all the ideas of what the next move should be.
I'll hold the thought again.
Yeah, Kyose now in trouble, locked up in place, misconnects, negates all that sleep. Knocked up again, here's his flash as well. And now, the wave's gonna get crashed in. TP's available for Kyose, but that now gives tempo to Legacy.
And this is just classic Zac gaming, right? You're playing the weaker of the two junglers, right? So you have to concede that you're going to lose crabs. Potentially, Sybil shouldn't have contested on the side where he had no prio, no flash.
Oh no, Styled, instant cleanse and a flash as well. Double sums burnt. In comes the TP from Winter, looking to find some assistance. Arcano's overcommitted. The mist has already gone down. He can't get inside the circle because he's already dead. The first kill for Legacy and a response back.
Now, this is good that happened, because I actually wanted to talk to you about one of my pet peeves, where it's the gank from Sybil, and I'll hold the thought again.
It's a classic. Anytime we seem to cast together, Juves, action takes place. There's no time to break things down, but we've got a lull, so hit us with your speed run.
So that gank there, or the TP rather from Incursio to counteract the bot lane gank, is just a byproduct of Kyose being greedy with his flash. So if he uses his flash there, instead of taking all the damage, using summoner heal, oh, what happened here? Okay, stun lands. Yep. Oh, wow. Oh! You know what? I personally believe Safa should have gone 1-for-1 there and just killed the Wukong. Maybe he wouldn't even have killed the died, because he would have got Triumph. But anyway, long story short, Kyose, I wanted him to burn the flash so he didn't take the damage, because he took the damage, lost all of his HP, burnt the flash anyway, then he couldn't teleport and match that play. Right? Like, if he doesn't take the damage, he teleports, follows up, maybe different story. Little bit of discipline, little bit of the 1%ers that end up getting you punished, right? Now, all of a sudden, Incursio has the free teleport and you're in a bit of trouble.
Well, it does. But current game state, if we run it forward, it is now Safa with the TP advantage.
Yeah.
He can go for a free recall. He's already got Akano protecting him topside, not too far away from 6 himself. And Safa will be hitting himself, right? The fact that he wasn't able to get that kill. 2 kills in lane would have been really far ahead of this Wukong. Would have certainly been able to influence the game and start off with the 1v9 performance.
I think it's tight, but I think he may have been able to kill him, flash out, and get Triumph proc. But who knows?
Yeah, definitely would be one of those 1%ers.
Yeah. Not
worth the risk, especially with Winter, knowing that these two are, you know, quintessential for the, you know, the theme of the game, the overall outcome.
And the Shy Bull's picking up a crab. There you go, first crab of the game. Misses the slam, but we won't talk about that.
Yeah, sometimes you can actually get juked by this, can't you? They, a bit of a mechanics practice.
I mean, I play Karthus, so I think my hit rate on crab with Karthus is just in the negatives.
Sometimes juke's better than players.
Oh, it definitely does. This is a nice roam here from Floppy, by the way. He's grouped up with Akano here. Sybil may not know yet.
Yeah, they got support advantage, don't they? Because the Melg's locked in base right now, so they could force the angle if they wanted to. 2v2 to start off with, but here comes Floppy looking for the all-in. There's the passive. Now, can they protect it? They don't have a TP to go onto the Zac. He's is dead. And the kill's picked up by Akano.
I don't think Sybil had his slingshot available because you have to assume he would have used it, but he definitely had the flash. So, again, being greedy with your summoner spells is just... Okay, I thought... I was like, wait, what? But yeah, just being greedy with your summoner spells and getting you punished is just a reoccurring theme with these two teams. And, you know, I think sometimes, on the way, Pink, so they still want to contest this Skimmy. Safa's really strong.
He certainly is. And Melg starts things off. There's the Lantern to bring in Incursio. Melg finding a fair bit of punishment so far. Flash goes out. Actually, the ultimate from Arcana, but he falls on down all the same. Then they get the kill on towards Safa. Now the floodgates are opened. They are running these members down. It's a triple. The hook is just shy, but Sybil's on the hunt, on the prowl. Looking for Kyoso. He's waiting for that portal, but he can't even use it because he's just going to fall on down. And that's 4 kills picked up in an instance.
That's 4 and maybe a Rift Herald that goes on across, and it's just a really good rotation from Legacy. Obviously, this comes at the cost of losing bot plates and bot minion waves, but you're not going to be complaining when you get a 4-0. So, again, really good team fight for Legacy, and they're just playing the map extremely well, right? I think this is where we see their kind of development as a team. You know, ML being the key catalyst, I guess, behind that. You know, he's the one contesting that Rift Herald. He's the one saying, you know, assist pings, lands the hook onto Akano, and it's just very good target selection. As we see the replay here, like Akano gets half health from the Rift Herald. He's just getting zoned by ML. So he's starting this team fight, one man down. Safa finds a flank, but it's literally 1v5.
Which is Gravitas' answer. They're coming back topside right now. No flashes exist here for Legacy, but just far too protected underneath their own turret. Early days, can't dive that one. An opportunity missed.
Opportunity missed, and even bigger than that, like Winter is not behind anymore. You know, he's down in the CS department for sure, but he's penciled in a kill and 3 assists to his name. So he's got the Bramble Vest, he's got the Sheen. He's in a very good spot now on this Wukong, particularly with how level 1 played out. And if you're looking for Gravitas, where do they have this lead? Where can they really make things happen? It's in this Thomas Shen lane now, right? Like he's got the 20 CS lead. He's got some plates to his name as well, but even so, Legacy have just come back to bot lane and they're just alphaing.
So they are. Bot lane has been quite quiet for the most part, but it has been these supports looking to try and be the difference maker. Incursio getting a little bit ahead of himself right now. Good flash away from the stun charged up there by Viego. And that could have been a bounty, easily going back in the favor of Gravitas.
That's a very good flash. And the two players, I guess I wanted to give honorable mentions to was Styled and Amelg. I think that when they play the Aphelios and the Thresh, this is probably the best we see them lane. And you probably look at the CS department and you say, well, you know, they're down. But you got to remember they rotated 5-man to a Rift Herald and lost like 2-3 waves on that rotation. So I don't necessarily even mean the CS, but just the pressure they've had in lane when they've been there. And that's pretty evident with the 2 turret plates missing. Again, though, I'd love to see, you know, when you're at a point of power, when you're at a, you know, Incursio got the most gold in the game. But again, when you're in a point of power, I want to see Legacy actually start playing for the Dragons. If I'm being critical of them, this is probably where I see them, you know, you see them kind of slack off a little bit. Maybe not even used to having the lead in bot lane, right? Maybe they're just kind of used to...
What's interesting in bot lane, because if we talk about the Thomas Shen once again, he's played the most Varuses in the league, right? 5 games so far.
Yeah.
But what's really interesting this game is he's always played on-hit lethal tempo version. Today, Halo Blade's going for lethality, and there's been times where we've been saying, how do you play on-hit into a Heimerdinger? How do you play this into a Ziggs? Today, he's saying, look, I am going to go for the poke, and we've got so much follow-up to complement it.
There was one time where he played on hit when he had Kyose playing in Enchanter. I think it was maybe Lulu or Karma, where I thought, okay, like if you try and make the argument, maybe you can get me across the line. But I think that almost at all points, the lethality build's just so good. Like lethality has that conception that there's tanks and you can't build it into tanks. But you also have to remember your role as lethality Varus isn't to just win a front-to-back team fight. It's not to just win a front-to-back team fight where everyone's starting on 100% HP. Your role is to poke people out and then inevitably pick up the objective that you're fighting for, right? Or pick it, whether that's the turret, whether that's the Baron, Dragon, whatever it is. So if you look at the composition, it's a beefy legacy composition, but landing the arrows onto Aphelios, onto Gwen, onto... Hold the thought.
Hold the thought indeed. A 2v2 breaks out topside right now as Herald has been some. Now's the TV to try and make it a numbers advantage in favor of Legacy. As the Cyclone goes out, spin to win. Try and remove Safa. Akano's already gone. Safa low. Passive ticking, but no lifesteal in sight. Not big enough anyway.
Too much CC. I mean, you don't even win that if it's just a 2v2, I think. The Zac is coming in clutch here. And Sybil's old school Zac player, by the way. You know, we talk about him being the Elise guy. He's historically always been the Zac guy as well. So showing his proficiency on this champion, and this 2v2 from Sybil and Winter is becoming, you know, the 2v2 to be feared, you know, not even just in this game, but across the league, in my opinion.
So he is, because Lookout's turn around from the level 1 in this game. Hang on a minute, styled, Moonlight Vigil, Gravitum lined up, route onto 2 members, in comes Winterer. The rest of the boys are here to protect. The shield goes out if necessary, it's not. Winterer finds the kill, a flash away from Floppy, but Sybil chasing him down with a chilling smite, locking him in place with the happy hands.
Come on, ML.
An unbelievable series of events.
Yeah, I mean, that's a scumbag maneuver, right, as the Thresh? Because you're at a point where the kills don't really mean too much on you now. Gets the auto attack there. I mean, Legacy are just making plays on both sides. You start to wonder, and maybe I'll even hold the thought again.
Yeah, Kiosa's got the Shrelias, going to be in the lane in just a second. Winding up the Paddle Star, looking for the one shot, can't find it. Emil goes golden, buying a little bit of time. Star looking for it, sidesteps the Paddle Star, gets hit by the box anyway. Falls on down, and that's exactly what Gravitas needed, but the bleeding, it's still a little way to catch up on.
Yeah, that was going to be my question. Where's Legacy's weak side? Because they're winning both sides. They're winning top side skirmishes, they're winning bot side skirmishes, and Gravitas are just kind of passengers in their own game. But that was a good rotation there from Akano and Kyose, and something that they're going to need to do more of this game, because he has the Divine Slanderer, Kyose has the Ludens. They need to start moving as a 2v2 and putting pressure on Incursio, or putting pressure somewhere, because at the moment it's just all reactionary. And even though they pick up the 2 kills there, it doesn't gain them anything, right? It doesn't get them any traction back in the game. It's not a turret, it's not an objective, it's not a Rift Herald. It's just we've just traded kills back, guys.
That's a consolation prize, right? It's a morale boost, if anything else, because, you know, when Curse's come into this lane matchup, he's 3-0-3, right? He's insanely huge, and he can really influence the map. Not only 1v1, he's cancelling out a whole lot of the damage that the Zombie can do with the mist alone. But as you say, top and bot side for Legacy is, you know, passively ahead. And whilst you could talk about Gravitas having 20-30 CS leads in the top bot half side, then you say that's okay, but the gold as a whole, shared wealth for Legacy favors.
Yeah, 100%. And you just look at the composition and you talk about scaling. You'd have to say, if you're talking a pure front-to-back team fight and you look in the scaling departments, you know, obviously the Aphelios, 200 years, Gwen, maybe even 400 years of game design in that champion. And then you just pair that with a beefy front line. It's really hard to see the way in which Gravitas will win this game, you know, if it extends past, 35 minutes, 3 items, you know, 4 items. So, not that the pressure is on yet. Gravitas are still in an okay position because the gold lead hasn't ballooned out by any means. But you'd have to say, just in terms of how the game feels, and if you believe in momentum, it's Legacy favored.
There's momentum once again, slingshot in, Safa in trouble, hits the Vanguard's edge, going to try and lock in place as much as he can. No, there's the ultimate at the last second, comes on through, finds the reset, pops the passive. Zac in trouble, can a TP be used? No, they're both in CD. Winter looking to disengage away, but have done enough. The threat is big enough that nobody falls on down.
And
Wolf, careful though.
Well, it's an even trade, right? You think about that trade and you're like, hey, Gravitas didn't lose it, Legacy didn't lose it, but Legacy are just quicker to the punch. They're just waiting topside, and they have 4 members there to protect Sybil's blobs. I'm surprised they didn't rotate into a Rift Herald. I think this is a little bit of a missed opportunity, because Gravitas have just taken bot turret, they're on that dragon, and now this Rift Herald is kind of just in limbo. And it's honestly going to give Gravitas enough time to contest, but you hope Safa does not get caught here.
Look what they're doing. They're sitting topside because they really want to force the objective. Kill Safa, remove him from the game. Make this Aurelia irrelevant. 1v3, he's got the Blade Surge.
Wow.
He gets the kill onto Sybil. 1v3 disrespect, but he picks up a trade.
And that's huge, because you've won both sides of the map now, right? Well, you've traded even on one where you're meant to be weak side, and you've come out ahead on the other. So now Gravitas are 1 away from Seoul. And again, we talked about their composition not really wanting to go into deep waters, not wanting to really take, the 35-minute, 40-minute fights if it goes to that phase. But if you have Infernal Soul, you can throw scaling almost out of the equation, particularly with a Lethality Varus, right? Every time that queues up, it's going to be doing so much damage. So all of a sudden, just from Legacy playing one side of the map, Gravitas have almost a little bit of a win condition. So we see here, Curcio is almost in for the 1v2. And he probably would have got it, to be honest.
It really is just frustration right there, right? 1v3 on either side of the map, and Gravitas come ahead. It's still that 1k buffer that has been, left in limbo for the last 10-15 minutes, but Legacy after the reset now will go to that second herald of the game.
Looks like it's going to be a full contest. Zoe gets it with an auto, or did he have smite? I don't know.
I'll tell you what though, nice series of plays really in the last few from Gravitas, picking up a dragon.
Yeah, but you would have to say it's good bubble. You'd have to say it's almost maybe a little bit of a error from Legacy, in the sense that maybe they're overcommitting and over-rotating, right? They're probably giving a little bit too much. Like, the game wasn't in a state where they couldn't have picked up the dragon and the Rift Herald, whereas they're more passing towards turrets, and that's fine, but they're also staying for kills too. Like Sybil dying topside, Safa getting the 1v3 trade kill, really just opens up for the rest of the map, opens up the dragon. They don't even get the Rift Herald, they lose the Rift Herald, they lose mid-turret. So it has like a domino effect, right? This one decision has had a domino effect that now loses you mid-turret. And how important this mid-turret is, for context, is Soul Point is up for Gravitas in the next dragon, right? It puts them on Soul Point if they get that. Now they have no mid-turret to use as priority to then get vision, especially when you consider that they're walking in face-checking a Zoe, a Varus, and a Brawl. So this game got interesting.
And it stems back to your point in the draft phase where you said vision would be the name of the game for Legacy, because one, for that point you just mentioned, but also two, I don't think they can win head on. They need to find those flanking angles to catch them off guard, right? To prevent the poke from afar that is going to come from an infernal map.
Yeah, while Zach's a big boy, he's still going to feel the poke from Zoe and the Varus, right? And he doesn't have the regen, like no Warmogs or anything like that to be able to heal that one up. So again, if your tanks are starting fights on half HP, they need to play a little bit more safe. Yeah. And it doesn't grant the same space to Styled that it otherwise would have. So again, Gravitas have done a very good job in just focusing objectives, right? Once they get over-rotated on, maybe a little bit of lack of discipline, still getting caught, still trading kills, but they're able to trade up.
The elusive mind control, as it's been coined, of targeting Safa, trying to remove him out of the game. Maybe a bit of a hindrance.
Yeah.
May have been a hindrance, right? Because we could talk about the fact that Winter now is in a much healthier state, and whilst the CS lead has been remaining at about a 30 CS gap all game, doesn't really mean too much in the context of it, given that he's got a few kills, he's got himself a bounty as well. So top mid for Legacy, if they come together, can definitely take out anybody uncontested. But Gravitas, given time, they've got a lot of poke right now, and that's not necessarily with them having to be on the objective first. Their retake is fantastic as well.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, if you take stock of gold, right, like it sounds dooming, it's not doom and gloom by any means. Legacy are still at a very big point of power. But I mean, you can just see how Gravitas really just get themselves back into this game. Because, all of a sudden you lose this dragon, you start getting in very Monka-esque territory, right? And, you know, they know. Look, Gravitas already know what they need to do. They've actually brought Safa down to get this vision early, because once they've secured the vision, that's all they're going to try and keep. And again, having no mid turret means you don't have anything to fall back to, no safety. So if the sleep lands, you're not falling back to a turret. You're just getting, you know, in theory, 100 to 0. But this is the right play from Legacy. Look at Incursio. Look where he is on the bottom side of the map. This is exactly how they need to play the fights if they're going to have success.
Yeah, but look at the vision placement right now. Thank you to the observers for toggling it for a second, because all the visions placed by Gravitas around the Dragon. All the vision for Legacy is topside towards the Baron. The flanking angle is there. Sybil are now going to go for the Scribes to try and look and place these people. The slingshot's being wound up. The angle is being found. A knock up under 2, but there's the Sun from Aurelia. Looking to try and chase on through and find these kills. They've taken out Floppy. He's gone. But now Safa, in a bit of a 1v5 situation, pops the passive of Sybil. A shutdown found by Akano. They're flashing forward aggressively, and Gravitas are snowballing to victory. Styled found a triple kill, but unprotected. He can't do much more than that. Legacy picked apart, and there's the ace.
And that's just the game of vision, right? That's exactly what we talked about. This is how the fights would take place if Legacy were the ones going in and engaging. Legacy had no control of this Dragon area, no vision whatsoever, and it was honestly just a slingshot over the top, which got disengaged. Look, didn't land on anyone, got stunned out of it, got slept. Zac has not landed an ability in this whole team fight, and he did there, and it was a disengage, and he was taken down by Safa. Styled, ML, and Curcio do their very best, but if you really consider what was landed in that team fight, Legacy really played that fight with one man down. I mean, yes, there was a body there, but other than a body, it really offered nothing. Gravitas did a very good job in identifying the win condition of their team composition, and they were able to execute.
It certainly were.
Infernal Soul now, that's Soul Point, and they have a gold lead now.
And now you begin to sweat, because you're realizing, okay, we no longer really have that initial strength that was meant to translate from laning phase. We were the bullies. Do we now flip the biggest coin of all coins and start the Baron dance to run it back with a fight now on vision?
Yeah, this feels desperate, if I'm being honest. Like, this is just nothing more than a coin flip.
No Sumsleever bot lane right now, no passive for Sybil, he's just dead.
Yep. Bromdor has so much value here.
Akano flashing forward, hits the next ultimate charge from the reset. Fantastic hook from ML. Is it enough? Started zoned out of the fight. He's all close call to combat. He can't do much more. His contribution is nullified. But now when Curcio jumps in, gets a double. Looking for another, but he gets shut down again. Safa and Thomas Shen, too much damage to deal with.
Too much, but if I'm being completely honest, you see how Legacy's composition can win team fights. But again, they're starting with no, like, they're ultimately starting that fight with one man less. Like, Sybil's dead from the Baron.
Yeah.
And he jumps in, really offers nothing. And, I mean, look at the damage that Styled and Incursor are able to do. But again, Thomas Shen, yeah, I'd have to say, maybe he's learnt his lesson, right? The lethality Varus, even against the double front line, he's just doing so much work in these team fights. 4,200 damage, really turning around these Baron fights for his team.
And you coined it a bit of a desperation play, and it's exactly what it was. There's Sybil initially dropping down. Look how low Styled is before the fight even starts.
And he heals up from the shield bow, right? He nearly falls down on the back end here. Very nice play. I think he actually got flayed out of the damage there. Yeah. And it's just a pure chaos. It is just a chaotic fight, and the backline from Gravitas is untouched. And now this is where it gets dicey. This is where it gets very hard because, you know, what do you do to stop Thomas Shen from just throwing these arrows down? And I mean, the Dragon's going to be spawning sometime soon. That's going to be that Infernal Soul. And at this point in the game, you know, Thomas Shen, with the items that he has, it's going to do so much damage to Incursio.
Well, it's headaches, as you say, because they're looking to try and force fights without the proper vision. Now you've got to deal with stopwatches to take into consideration as well. The fact is that they're forcing the hard fights, not wanting to wait out the poke that's inevitably going to come at them. It's just buying so much time for Floppy to fire an uptime with his passive. Akano and Safa just wailing away on a single target. They're getting the resets, and the fight kind of just snowballs from there. So, wondering now what Legacy's response back is, because we're tied up, 15 kills apiece. But it's Gravitas now starting to build a steady lead.
They are, and if you're a Legacy fan, the one thing that you need to keep your eyes on is that what Baron buffs make teams do is it makes them siege, right? It makes them siege up like they're sieging now. And if there's one champion that is anti-siege, it is the Zac. So maybe Legacy can find that team fight that they haven't been able to find. But so far, Gravitas are doing an extremely good job at playing I'd call it a 4-1, but it's actually a 3-2 because you've got a Kano hovering Sapphire, and you've got the 3 members just using the Baron buff to push turrets down in the mid lane. And I don't think Gravitas will really feel pressed to take an inhibitor or take an inhibitor turret because they know they have that dragon to fall back on.
Double locket as well here. Kyose as well as Floppy. So plenty of mitigation. Even if it is that diminishing returns when overlapped. It's enough to zone away Legacy here, who had to concede themselves another turret. Akano found on the pick, stopwatch instantly burnt, but he's locked in place the fresh ult. Sybil doesn't have the passive, one skin, hits the ultimate to try and disengage away. Needlework putting in overtime so far as Kyose jumps on through. Winter doing whatever he can to try and knock up these members, but Style hits a massive penta. When I say a penta, it's a triple kill. It's a multi-kill is the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
It's a big killing streak that he needed to try and stop the bleeding.
And I love when we see games where we actually see the 2 compositions play out. That is, that little...
Oh, whoa.
Yep. And that little corridor there is your classic front-to-back corridor because Styled cannot be touched by anybody at all. Like, this is just free hit territory, very hard to get poked out from this side. Incursio's on the back line, there's no peel. You know, it's just your classic front-to-back. I mean, you look where Incursio and Styled are, and there's not much that the carriers of Thomas Shen and Kyose can do. I'm going to hold the thought because this is just going to blow up on this dragon.
Well, that's the sole point, right? There is no time to waste, and they have to burn through this one. I think they've done enough. The damage is high. Ooh. The smite is that much better because there was an enhanced arrow ready to come at them, but multiple members of Gravitas were locked in base from the reset after that previous fight, so thankfully for Legacy, they bought themselves another 5 minutes.
That wasn't the best smite either. I think that got down to like 20 something, did it? I don't know, I'd have to get a replay, but I swear that smite was very suspect. Sus smite.
Interesting to note though, how well Styled is playing in this game despite the amount of threats coming at him. I was actually having a bit of a stock check of some of the matchups against Gravitas in the past. Their first game, he finished the game 11-12, really overperformed on the Varus. And in the other game they played, he played the Ziggs, sieging like a monster, but he did nearly 50% of Legacy's overall damage that game.
I feel like he may have been just going for the Infinity Edge here. Oh, he's dead, no flash. This is a really good dive.
2 CCs buffered, the stopwatch cancels it in the portal. Out he comes, dead and shut down. And Kyose finds that kill, all importantly. Winter with the knock-up, now looking to try and disengage away. Floppy can jump in and apply the passive, but the turnaround! Oh. Another fantastic stopwatch, 2 times, 2 same spots. 2 kills denied. And the revenge found here from Gravitas as Thomas Shen hits the arrow, looking for a second. And that is the double kill in response.
Those stopwatches are absolutely nuts.
They're huge.
They're the difference between your team getting aced or losing 3 members, losing 2 turrets, losing your gold lead, or 3 turrets rather, and now you're pushing down the base. And I mean, it's 1 member down. Kyose has no TP, but Death Timer on Winter is quite long.
I mean, that might just be the best 650 gold they've ever spent in the game.
Yeah, 100%. That's so much value.
As a result, they can continue the siege, continue the momentum in their favor. A 5k lead soon to talk about, but mid inhib is now gone.
So whilst it is it's a 3k lead, we'll hold the thought on the replay here. This is just really good presence of mind. They knew that Gravitas was top side, and this dive here, I really like it, right? But at this point, you back off, you grab that minion wave, and you either push or you move into river and secure some vision. Because you can't really siege into the Varus, particularly when he has the ultimate. And it's just a very good chain of corruptions from Thomas Shen. And it really makes them disperse. Like, they have to split up, because if they all get rooted there, they all die. So again, Legacy, what did they do? They took an inch? What's the saying? You take an inch, but you can't take a mile. Something like that.
Yeah,
I don't know.
something along those lines. Look, mate, you know, those lines aren't
our
our forte.
They try taking too much, basically.
I tell you what, though, it doesn't have to necessarily be a copy-paste of the one-liners, because you've got enough original ones yourself,
Yeah,
mate.
I mean, I make my own lines up at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
But, you know, whilst it is a 3k gold lead to Gravitas, if you take stock of, like, the compositions and strength of compositions, it is well and truly losable for both sides, or winnable, whichever way you want to phrase it. But this Aphelios is almost at the point of no return. You know, you consider that Infinity Edge to come through, or a GA, depends what he gets gold for, whatever he opts in for. And then, you know, you look at the Gwen now on the 3.5 items, and who cares about the Zac, right? He's just a body that has a bunch of CC. So if they're able to just get the front to back and kill Safa off styled, you'd have to say that the team fight's in Legacy's favor, but this isn't how you want to be starting the fight.
Yeah, he winds up the slingshot looking for it. Already dropped down to 50% because the kind of with the true damage, the percentile shred, doing overtime. Gonna clear out some of the vision, but the Baron has been started.
Yep.
The zoning is there. They've got a little bit of vision, especially on Pixel Brush. They know that Floppy's trying to set up a bit of a trap.
I like this push out mid-turret, zone them from the turret, but you need to be careful of Chain of Corruptions. Don't want to get caught under the tower. Here we go. No flash on Zoe.
Sybil jumps in, double flash to try and disengage away. The passive is there. He goes drowsy. He's popped the passive. Now Floppy goes golden. The response from Legacy to try and jump in. Winter knocks up 4. It's a bouncy castle, but they're not having fun just yet. So many members of Gravitas so low. It's a pentakill if I've ever seen it. But they can't find it. They've removed the jungler. Maybe Legacy now don't have to be too worried about the Baron.
This is tense. This is very tense because Dragon spawning, both junglers have gone down. Sybil is there that little bit earlier, but we're seeing Style take over the game now, right? We're seeing the Aphelios get those 4 items, turn into the 200-year carrier that we all know and hate. And it's kind of just, again, Skimmy, I'm going to sound like a broken record, but Gravitas aren't playing to their strengths. They're not playing to their compositions. They're trying to defend. Oh, he might be dead.
Oh my gosh.
But Dragon's up. What do you do now? You can't reset.
They force it.
Yeah.
They're forcing with a TP. We've got a 5v4 now. Emel's only got 100 HP to his name.
Yep.
What's he going to be, a lantern bot across the wall?
Yeah. Or they give. Yeah, they're giving. I mean, if you give this... Oh, if you give this... That Zoe sleep into...
It's just a one-shot.
Yeah, it's a one-shot. And then, I mean, we'll just have to take stock of Thomas Shen and itemization he has now. He's going to be half-healthing people, so this game just got very hard for Legacy, to be honest, and that's just off the back of getting picked. And I mean, I say getting picked, it's no one's dead, no one died, but I mean that you may as well have been dead.
I mean, it's just if they set up like this, right, between the Sura's Grudge and the Horizon Focus, you know, anybody that gets caught within one of those abilities is going to feel the pain, is going to feel the burden, especially now with that Infernal Soul that's being picked up, that you're going to get zoned away, that if you look to try and jump in, you best believe that is a winning fight.
But, I mean, we've seen team comps really win through the Infernal Drake before, Infernal Soul rather, right? And especially now we look at Style. We have to keep looking at him. He has the Infinity Edge now. That's not what he had before. And you saw how close the team fight was to being a pentakill. So, here we go.
Floppy caught out of position. He has no flash, but the Chain of Corruptions just locks them all in place. It's a reset angle, potentially. Incursio is the one that finds the kill, so both supports have been removed. Now it's a 4v4 with a lot of damage on the plate.
You'd have to say, too, the Braum being dead means more for the side of Legacy.
Sure.
The Braum offers so much peel and has been making Sybil's life hell. So, you know, whatever, we trade ML for Floppy. We're happy with that trade. Now there's nothing to peel Thomas Shen and Kyose. They have pseudo-appeal, right? Because it's going to be Safa and Akano trying to dive backline, and whether or not that takes Sybil's attention away, Rinter's attention away, we'll see. But it's almost just ARAM, Skinny. It's just ARAM. There's no elegance whatsoever in this game.
Well, look at the minimap. I'm just watching the minimap, and I'm seeing Winter and Safa kind of haphazardly decide, do I go catch the wave? I got TP. Do I decide this? We have TP advantage. What do I do? And Safa said, I'm going to go for it. Winter has been sitting in top river for, well, the last 30 seconds.
But it's like Gravitas for what? I mean, 25 minutes played to their composition strengths, where they forced them to come to neutral objectives, and then they used their poke, they used their flanks, they used everything that they could. But now they've just decided to group ARAMs mid and just play team fights. Like, engage on us, we'll try disengage, and we'll see how that one plays out. Love to see Gravitas just go back to what's been working for them. Walk in river here, secure vision, make sure Kyose plays goalkeeper, don't let anyone in, and see how that one works out for you. But at the moment, these team fights really are just all on Legacy's terms, and it's off the back of Sybil and ML going in, whilst it's only been 1-for-1s.
Oh no, Kyoso's not here, but he does have TB to come back in. They have a numbers advantage for just a slight second. Sybil has no passive, he can fall on down. Lantern gets himself out. Chain of Corruption spreading like wildfire, but a bit of a disengage away. The Drowsy connects onto Style, but an instant cleanse away. The Moonlight Vigil's already been popped. Akano trying to 1v1 him. He needs a bit of life steal, he needs a bit of protection. He's got peeled, he's got a stopwatch, he's turned things around. The dive is disengaged, it is diffused, but as you say, Gwen is the hero, taking out multiple members and zoning away Safa. They're down for 40 seconds and counting, Juice. What's the next step?
Is that game? Do they just push mid on this wave and end? Can Safa make the hero play? Is he able to clear this wave in time? Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. It's going to be tight. 20 seconds, 19 seconds on Floppy, so Floppy will be up. Maybe Safa can wait for him and they can, they can make that miracle last stand. But I mean, we were all focusing on Styled in that last team fight, but we didn't see Incursio, 5.7k damage. He completely shut them down. I'll let you take over, Skimmy. Oh!
Oh, there's the hook. Safa's just gone. It's a nice little bit of HP regen coming back at him, but it's just not enough. The Gore Drink, it cannot protect him this time.
They can't
Stagger death time is Floppy against the world. They can't end. They've taken one turret and a flash arrow.
They're going to get run down. Ekano has ultimate.
That was the best target he got to found. Thomas Shenson have had enough of you, Styled.
I've had an absolute enough. I've had it up to here with you and your team composition.
Wow. Back to 4v4. Back to ARAMs. Forget side lanes. Baron, the biggest dish to talk about.
Well, this is gone, right? You'd assume this is gone. Safa has teleport in 15 seconds. Styled's dead. Styled has picked up the GA now, but it looks like a contest. Incursio is feeling himself after last team fight.
Incursio has to try and shadow him. He can't. He's got into the mist. He's going for the 1v3. Hits the zone use, protects himself for a little bit longer. Silver brings two together. He finds the kill, but Incursio's dead. Now to respawn. And the backup from Gravitas comes in, and that just may be gain now. They can pick up the Baron. It's now their time to talk about 50-second respawns. It is worth noting, though, that Winter is available. Minions are flooding the base of Gravitas.
Baron recalls too fast.
But
I mean, hear me out. I don't actually think this is game because everyone's going to have the chance to respawn. The Baron is going to be nearly impossible to deal with for sure if Gravitas do execute the way that their composition's meant to function. But what I mean is that Zach is anti-siege. So if they group up as a 3 or 4 man, they're going to pull the trigger and it's just going to be another front-to-back team fight. And with the way that the game's gone, Legacy look like they're going to come out on top, particularly with a full build Aphelios. But I mean, the problem that you have now is like, how do you sit in the side lane versus Safa? Level 18 to level 16, going to have Baron minions, have the Infernal Soul. So I mean, it's an uphill battle for Legacy, particularly with this Nash going across. I don't know, Skimmy.
I mean, he's got the Flame Horizon, right? He has been willing to go to those side lanes, whereas Winter hasn't necessarily been as keen. And Melk, you got to be careful.
He needs to stop. He needs to realize that he's been one-shot a couple times this game. And the Infernal Soul's up. Elder.
The Elder may just decide this game. That's hop, skip, and a jump.
Hello?
Sybil.
What are you doing?
Lantern. He needs to click the Lantern. He's better than Curso. Into the mist he goes. Goes for the needlework. 1v2. Doing so much damage onto Akano and Floppy. He manages to survive somehow, some way, Juice. I don't quite believe it. They have to start the Elder.
He's going to heal up. There's no jungler. They can't get this. Oh, wait, Kyosa has smites.
Oh! It was close.
But that was Wukong who got it, Skimmy. It wasn't the jungler. Mate, that has been flipped like the burger I'm going to order tonight from DoorDash. Let me tell you that much. I don't know where I'm ordering from yet. There's a few burger joints around, but that was an absolute flip.
And look, you said to me, in this game that still any team can win. Any team can quite honestly lose. I've said maybe too hastily now. That looks like the game-ending play. That could be the team that wins. That's been said twice now, but now it's Baron v Elder.
You know, normally when someone says the term run down mid, you think that like reportable for sure, right? That's not acceptable term in League of Legends. But Legacy might just literally do that. They have to run down mid. They have to run down mid, utilize this Elder Dragon. Winter is going to prep another wave, and he has teleport, so he can meet the team here. But I mean, you really need to make this push work on this Elder Dragon because, I mean, I don't know, Skimmy. Like this game is just it's not even a point of analysis anymore. Yeah, we'll die, we'll respawn, we'll run mid, and we'll fight. And that's all that's happening. I mean, both teams have really just thrown the mathematic equation out of the window. There's no real way to execute anymore. Let's just knock heads and we'll see who comes out on top.
Well, I mean, Winter is trying to, hit those side lanes now. He's prepped top side, now going down bot. He's got himself a TP. The rest of the Legacy waiting out the Baron buff, which has now just gone.
Yep.
60 seconds left on their Elder. You have to imagine that they're going to get themselves ready for that all-in fight. That has been their playstyle all game. They can trade up with that power buff.
What?
And Sybil.
Okay.
Oh, he's made out the chain corruption. That is huge.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
It's all or nothing. That's a massive arrow from Thomas Shen. They're trimming the wave, waiting for the inhib. I think the mid inhib's about to respawn. It's going to fall on down very quickly as well. 30 seconds left.
They have no waves. They didn't prep their waves. They ran down mid, but they didn't get the engage. They didn't prep any waves.
I'm not going to find a fight with this.
There's a ward. They can't. What? Hello?
Emelg's emote says it all. That's how I feel watching that one. Safa's burnt the ulti very early on. You can feel the tension. This game is on a knife's edge, but Sybil's had enough. Jumps in, evaporates Floppy. Now looking for a second kill onto Safa, who seems to be the focus. He jumps out. He's forced to flash away. There's the stopwatch thumbs up, because this could be Legacy doing it on their doorstep. Their third time meeting them. They've always lost against Gravitas, but at 42 minutes, they've killed them, they've wiped them, they have aced them, and they will finally beat Gravitas.
I don't even know what to say, but Winter has chucked these shades on because his future's too bright, that's for sure. Have a...
He's hit the Justin Timberlake.mp3 Crimea River.
Oh, that was the perfect ending, right? ML flashing on the spot, into an emote, into a dive, into ending the game. If that isn't a Gratos game, and if my makeup doesn't suggest the ending to that game, then I don't know what does.
Look, I'll be quite honest with you, Mac. I have no idea what I was watching half that time. I was making calls that probably made no sense. Watching Sybil do slingshots that, quite honestly, weren't slingshots. I think even Timo slingshot. The little dart would be better.
Yeah, you know, something like that. You know, the poison dart. No one able to hit a damn thing. No one able to finish the damn game. Every time they tried to, you know, they just felt blinded. Didn't know which way to damn go. However, solid cosplay competition in the server, keeping it very entertaining and outside the server here as well. So very exciting stuff for the first game of the night, and Legacy finally get that dub they've been hunting for. So, with the DoorDash Send It replay, let's have a quick look back at what went down. This was that Penta you were talking about, right, Skimmy?
Look, I got so excited because I see the lights flash up in my eyes. I'm like, that's a pentakill, but I'm like, wait, no, it's just a massive multi-kill. Starred was putting in a bit of a show there. He was doing whatever he could. He was getting focused, but by the end of that game, it just basically became incursive, able to pretty much take down anybody he liked. He was having fun. Yeah,
it was just a solid damn time, and I thought, you know, from the 30-minute mark, there was so many points where the game could have ended, and then it ended like another 10 minutes later. So just so much action, and again, living up to what I guess we expected to be an entertaining one. Look, Kyosei as well, just doing so good in the mid lane, and everything working out up until they just got the Elder, and it wasn't enough to get the dub. Oh, it wasn't enough to get the dub, rather. That was Legacy that got it. Now, crazy game. So hard to keep track of because it was just at any given point, anyone could have won that damn game. So looking back, who do you think would have been the MVP?
Well, I know.
Oh, you know.
Oh,
Has it already been decided? I don't even know yet. Have we discussed it?
Well, are you talking about the player that delivered?
Yes.
Yeah, I know.
Well, then let's not talk about it, hey? Let's talk about numbers instead. You like numbers, Juice?
Yeah, look, I have an accountant by the name of Corporate Skimmy. Yeah. So, you know, I do go to him, but I mean the numbers are like, obviously you're gonna see some big numbers on the poke composition, right? Like across the board, 39k, 34k on Thomas Shen and Kyosei respectively. But for me, the bigger of the two, obviously being Incursio and Styled, like those numbers are pretty ridiculous, particularly because, you know, the composition from Gravitas isn't that beefy. Like, sure, they have some bruises and Braun puts up a door and all that, but I mean, it just shows you how hard they had to work to really bring that one back from the brink.
Yeah. There was so many moments in that game, Mac, where I was losing my mind, unsure actually what I was casting, how to cast it really, because there would be moments where they would jump in Gravitas, like they just looked like the greatest team in the world. Legacy would then somehow make a fight work, where Sybil, the mad lad himself, would find engaged that I'd be like, what on earth are you doing? I think no more of an Emelg flashing at the end over a wall. He's like, I've had enough. This game is ending. We've got like 10 seconds left in this Elder. We're going now. I mean, it was a whole lot of excitement, and it lives up to the expectations that this matchup has always been explosive between these two teams.
Well, someone else that lives up to expectations, especially with her damn cosplaying, is Nat. Let's bring her back into the conversation. Nat, did you enjoy the game?
I did, yeah, it was really great. I just have to chuckle because, like, during the game, it doesn't register in my head that we look like this, and then we come back to cameras, and I'm like, ah, that's right.
That's right. We look like beautiful League of Legends champions.
So true.
Doing a very good job. Now, someone else that did a good job is someone down on the side lane there?
Yeah, I would say Melk did a pretty good job, and so he's going to join me for the post-game interview. Thank you so much for joining me. How does it feel to finally get a win up against Gravitas?
Feels long overdue, honestly. That game was probably a lot more scappier than we would have hoped, as the Legacy Gravitas matchup, unfortunately, or fortunately for the viewers. But
Definitely
yeah, no, it
fortunately.
was fun.
That's good. How much were you actually sweating during the mid-game? Because I personally, for quite some time, thought Gravitas had that.
Yeah, honestly, I don't know about the rest of the boys, but I was getting pretty worried because it seemed to be following the regular trend of Legacy gets early game lead, Legacy throws early game lead, Gravitas starts winning. But yeah, I'm really happy we managed to stop that formula in its tracks this time.
Yeah, how do you think you guys did it? What was the key to kind of bringing that lead back to your side?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I don't know. I think we're just. I think the way we play is just a little bit better than it was the previous times. So we're making like less mistakes than we might have made in previous games. Yeah, granted there still were a lot of mistakes, but less of them. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, look, apart from that mid-game, you guys did look pretty solid. It looked great for you guys. Although I do have one play that was kind of a little weird, I guess, from my side. But the flash at the end from you, I've got to ask, why?
It was a misclick. We were so stressed, honestly. And as soon as I pressed that button, I was like, I just laughed, and Sim was like, "It's okay, it doesn't matter anyway." And then we just
Well,
won
look,
the fight.
it didn't
I'm like,
matter.
Maybe that was the key to victory.
Yeah. Yeah, you had to flash before the fight. That was... Now you found the new formula. But look, thank you so much for joining me, and Melvin. Congratulations again.
Thanks.
Big congrats there for the big man there in the interview. So ML doing a very good job there in the bot lane, but someone that did an even better job, of course, was Incursio in the mid lane. He was the DoorDash player that delivered for game number 1 of the evening, 81% kill participation, and then even doing a lot of damage in team fights where you guys seem to miss it, right?
Yeah, I mean, I was all focused on Styled for majority of that. I saw Incursio's, Styled's items. I thought he's going to take over. And then I see the whole backline dead for Gravitas, and I see a 5k DP damage per second graph pop up. Not per second, but I see a 5k damage total done.
Yeah.
And I'm just shocked. And I say I have to get the replay to see that one. And to be honest, I'm so shocked and still thinking about that game, I don't even have my words anymore.
Yeah,
Look, I think it literally was League of Legends displaying stress, right? Kind of what Emil was saying, because you could see it from not only both teams, but from us, but from everything that, yeah, we were certainly focused on the bot lane, but yeah, you know, Incursio had such a strong dominant laning phase that he was able to transition that into side lanes, that he was able to bring it into team fights, and I think once you're at a certain point where there was so much chaos, a Riftmaker Gwen will just beat anyone.
I think it's going to be a damn good time as we move along with the day, and especially with the tune we have today from Warner. It is Bus Stop, which is the Mashed and Kutcher remix from Kinder, and boy, when we do go to break, I think it's going to be a damn exciting one, but we do have a second match coming up after the break. It is going to be Order taking on Mammoth for game number 2. Let's see how this one goes and enjoy the tunes.
They can't get this. Oh, wait, Kyosa has smites.
Oh! Very early on, you can feel that tension. This game is on a knife's edge, but Sybil's had enough. Jumps in, evaporates Floppy. Now looking for a second kill onto Sapper, who seems to be the focus. He jumps out.